Hello and welcome to my shot-by-shot breakdown of the very first trailer for Dune. But it's 3 minutes long, so get comfortable. We have a lot to discuss. And I have the most notes that I've ever had laid out on my screen here to be able to break this down for you. And I think the real hurdle for Denis Villeneuve, I know some of you are saying I'm mispronouncing his name, but I don't think it makes sense to put an R in there. But anyway, Denis Villeneuve has to make it so that you can watch this movie without having to look at cliff notes or glance at notes while you're doing it. I don't know if that's possible. I think he's once again picked really difficult source material. And of course, I'm referencing Blade Runner 2049. I enjoyed Blade Runner 2049. Then I saw it again and I was like, I can see people getting, I saw it with the general audience and, they weren't having a great time. And I have to say, I understood it. I think there's different movie audiences. And if you want to make a lot of money, you got to go for mass market appeal. Now, that insulted some of you and you were like, box office isn't the arbiter of quality, Grace. Yeah, but this is a business. And if you're going to make a movie for a substantial amount of money, the studio would like to at least earn that money back and, would maybe like to turn a profit, right? That's why they make these movies, not just to put them out into society as a good deed. So Blade Runner 2049 cost $150 million to make, and it only got to $260 million worldwide. Ouch! And of course, remember, at the end of the day, the studio gets about 50% of that. So that's $130 million. So it's 260 to 130. So they didn't even make their budget back, and that doesn't include advertising. And for a major movie, a major blockbuster, usually costs about $100 million to advertise those films. So for some reason, Warner Brothers gave Denis Villeneuve even more money for Dune. It's like around $175 for the budget. And there have been rumors of reshoots. And reshoots aren't always a bad thing. Reshoots saved Rogue One. But that means the budget's even higher. So this movie's got to make, it's in a similar situation, I think, as to Tenet. It's got to do about around $500 million globally to just break even. And so the question is, does this trailer show that kind of appeal? I'm not currently seeing it, but as I said in my trailer reaction, I think that the cast is strong. You got a lot of fan favorites there. Some of them have smaller like Timothee Chalamet has not really delivered at the box office just yet. But if you put his fandom together with Zendaya's fandom together with Oscar Isaac's and Jason Momoa's, you might be able to cobble together a decent chunk of change. And then also, if you can get really good reviews for this, if you can get a really strong Rotten Tomato score. And I actually, I told you I think this movie's going to move. I've heard it's going to move from my sources. And I think this is maybe a better February movie, to be honest with you. I don't think that means it would have to go up against Eternals unless Marvel does some release date shuffling. Who knows what's opening when at this point? But, this is a bleak film. And so I think a bleak landscape of winter might work out. So I'm going to fill in some of the blanks for you. I always say movies shouldn't require homework, but I got to tell you, this one requires homework. As I said also in my trailer reaction, I watched the original 1984 Dune movie, which started out pretty good, then got awful. Some of you liked the whole thing, so hey, roll the dice and see what you think of Dune 1984. It also has an amazing cast, so that's always fun. You're like, Patrick Stewart, what are you doing here? This is crazy. All kinds of Brad Dourif, Sting, it's incredible. We'll talk about Kyle MacLachlan. I think Timothee Chalamet is a good Kyle MacLachlan counterpart, to be honest with you. So yeah, I would check that out. I think you're going to need, I wouldn't have faith that Denis Villeneuve and his screenwriters are going to be able to unravel this for you. So you want to have as best chance as possible to understand it. I'm going to fill in some of the blanks, but without spoilers. So there's some stuff that I recognize from the 1984 movie, but I'm not going to ruin it for you. Okay, so let's break this down. Here we go. Oh, and by the way, if you're a Dune fan who's read the books, if you want to offer any non-spoilery important information down below, we'd love to have it. So I think that he looks fantastic. So, he's seeing the future. So there's a lot of different tribes in this movie, right? So he's House Atreides. She is a member of the Fremen. There's the Harkonnen. Harkonnen is the villain you'll see later, and his people are against House Atreides. So it's a little bit like, the part of the Star Wars prequels and they were having very big, important discussions in the Senate. It's a little like that. So it's a little bit like down the rabbit hole politics-wise with George Lucas. And that didn't work out for George Lucas. So, it's scary for anybody to try it. But, it's got a little bit of romance. I mean, I think you'd be hard-pressed to find a better social media-friendly couple right now than Timothee Chalamet and Zendaya. So those breathing tubes are supposed to help them in the desert. It's a toxic environment. But that little breathing tube does the trick because sci-fi. So look at that. Isn't that a gorgeous room? You can hardly see it. I don't know what it is with movies these days that you can hardly see what you're looking at. Even the logos were hard to see. But I like the intricate work on the bed. I have to say, I think Timothee Chalamet, and I'm not talking about Timothee Chalamet, I'm talking about the headboard. But anyway, Timothee Chalamet, I think, is a great young prince. I think he looks like he walked out of a Disney animated movie, to be honest with you. And I think that he is a good choice to fill in for Kyle MacLachlan. That was Kyle MacLachlan's big breakout role. I hope things turn out a little bit better for Timothee Chalamet. Kyle MacLachlan's had a nice career, but I think Timothee Chalamet is aiming a little higher. But we all know who Kyle MacLachlan is, so it worked out for Kyle MacLachlan. So anyway, he's woken from his dream. That's from later in the movie. That's him and Zendaya. Nice work with silhouettes in this film, by the way. My favorite shot, I'll point it out to you, with silhouettes. But here, look at Timothee Chalamet. That's a nice regal stance he's got going there. Again, you can hardly see what's in this room. What room are we in? It's not important. You're about to take a test. So Charlotte Rampling is incredibly well cast as the leader of, let me get sure I get these pronunciations right, the Bene Jesuit, which are like... basically like the whole bunch of telepaths. So they're like these mystical people. And then there's also people who are mentats, who are like human computers. So you have like the religious, spiritual people, and then you have like the technological, sciencey people. So these women are the Bene Jesuit. And she's giving a test to, this young prince, Paul Atreides. And there's some, the Bene Jesuit have a very, without spoilers, they have a very distinct interest in this child. The son of Rebecca Ferguson, who was tasked to actually give birth to a daughter, but because Oscar Isaac so wanted a son, she gave him a son because she loved him so much. So there's a little bit of controversy right out of the gate. All right, so Charlotte Rampling's like, let's see what this boy has. I was hoping for a daughter. And of course, he's gonna blow her socks off or that net off her face. He looks great there too. He looks like, he looks like every animation that you would want. He looks like Disney animation. He looks like anime. He has a great look. I love that collar. He's looking fantastic. Posture is so important. He has amazing posture. Like a prince. He's like, I take posture lessons and fighting lessons. So, these barren planets. That box is a little ridiculous. That net on her face is a little ridiculous. These are hard sells. Let's see if it works out. Charlotte Rampling has an amazing voice. And quite the toothpick. She's like, look, I'm so deadly. She's like, I'll kill you right here. And I'll tell you what, she will. So I wouldn't have done the line, what's in the box? Because he even says it like Brad Pitt in Seven. I just couldn't resist making the joke in my trailer reaction. And I can't believe nobody made that joke on set. And then they said, ha ha ha, maybe we should change the line. All right, so yes, this is part of his test, right? I'd be like, I'm not putting my hand in there. I'm sorry, you didn't see this coming, did you? All right, so anyway, so there are these barren planets, from one crappy planet to the next. But look, heavy is the head that wears the imaginary crown. All right, this is cool. Anything they can do to put cool VFX in here, we appreciate it. So those are actually shields, and they've come quite a long way in the visual effects department, I gotta tell you. Although, of course, that was cutting edge at the time that first movie came out. So these are shields, and I think that's pretty cool. I would love to have a little shield that was right around me so close. I think that's awesome. So the red... They turn red, I think, when the person's injured. I don't think they did that in the 84 version, but they had like some kind of cool training thing. Like this is like little mini danger room scenarios, basically. Think of it that way. But I think they've incorporated the red into like it's very nice of your shield to let you know you've been injured. You're like, yeah, I felt it. Okay. Shield's like, just so you know, you've been injured. All right. I don't know if it's injury or death, but so that's the Patrick Stewart role. But so Josh Brolin is his mentor. They're like, let's have a fight with little swords. You ready? And I have to say, Timothee Chalamet does a nice job with the physicality of his role. You'd be like, I don't know if he's going to be able to do it, but I think he does it quite nicely. So you can see, I really like the way their shields work. See, I think that's another part of the training scenario, or maybe like he's injured. That's the reflection of maybe I'm not quite sure what's going on here. A lot of flashing lights, man. It's like advanced laser tag. But, with real ramifications. He does a lot of regal posturing, but I gotta say, every time I like it. He's like, I'm gonna look off in the distance here. Oh, okay, how about over here? So she says, now that you control yourself, now you must control others. You must be a leader. I think that's cool. I like that dialogue. She's like, all your relatives are losers, basically. That's so mean. She's like, everyone before you is a total loser. And he's like, oh, don't be mean to my dad. My dad cares. And there you can see, he's a nice man. Great casting on the parents. Timothee Chalamet looks like the son of Oscar Isaac and Rebecca Ferguson. So he's like, he's getting another cool. My father rules the whole planet. And she's like, he's not doing a good job there. And Rebecca Ferguson, one of her Charlotte Rampling's disciples, is like, yeah, I've noticed. So it's like, the women apparently know what's up, but I think they should maybe tell the men. And Timothee Chalamet's like, he's getting another awesome one. Thank you very much. Shut your mouth, Charlotte Rampling. Who is that under that veil? Is that Rebecca Ferguson? I think it is. I don't know why all the women have to wear these veils. All right, so anyway, he's like, I will take the sand in my eyes, it's fine. That's great lighting on him. I like the Reed Richards gray in his hair. He looks fantastic. These uniforms are a big improvement over the 1984 film. So they're looking over their new planet, and I love this exchange. I really feel their bond already. I can't believe he doesn't tell his dad. I mean, I don't think he does in the movie, as I recall. I'd be like, guess what Charlotte Rampling just told me? There's trickery afoot, subterfuge, etc., etc. All the big vocab words, Dad. Now that's my favorite shot. I love that shot. It's gorgeous. I just think it's so beautiful. I think, again, I can't help but notice the posture. I'm like, Timothee Chalamet, even from the back, you stand out. That's fantastic. But you can see the anticipation and the excitement. They're all ready for this new future for themselves. They're nervous, but they're ready to meet it head on. It's like it's a cool disembarkment shot. I feel disembarking. I think it's great. And they disembark. Now this is very cool too. So there he's got his little entourage, right? So that guy with the umbrella is a living computer. And he's actually very well cast. Again, I hope he's not, Bryan Singer was slavishly devoted to the Richard Donner, Christopher Reeve Superman, and it really hurt Superman Returns. So I hope that Denis Villeneuve isn't like, yeah, I'm going to be really loyal to the 1984 movie. And I'm like, no one has seen that really, Denis. And I think it's probably like kind of split on how many people actually enjoyed it. So they're all walking around looking at this is like when things seem okay. I love that Jason Momoa has like no acting skills. And that's fine. Movie stars rarely do. They do one thing and they do it very well. And he does running up and grabbing people and lifting them up quite well. And here he does it with a cape. Edna Mode would be appalled, but I gotta say, he's working that cape. Nobody else seems happy to be there. And he doesn't seem happy that they're there. So that, of course, is Javier Bardem, who's in so many movies. You can kind of see the blue eyes on them because they sniff the spice, and it gives you blue eyes. So you get no need for drug tests on this planet. Just look at someone's eyes. So they're like, oh, there's a lot of problems on this planet. And I got to tell you, I never was able to figure out what they were from the first movie. So I hope that Denis Villeneuve makes it more clear. So Dave Bautista, he was in Blade Runner 2049. I got to tell you, Dave Bautista, when he meets a director, that director loves him forever. And he's very loyal in return. So there's something cool going on with Dave Bautista, at least behind the scenes. I couldn't see somebody cast to play the Sting role. So I don't think there needed to really be two henchmen for Baron Harkonnen in the first movie that I saw. So maybe they consolidated that role to Dave Bautista. So as you can see, they have a weird look, right? They're like hairless albinos, and they're upset about it. They're Stellan Skarsgård doing the same kind of thing he always does, but with Jeffrey Rush's nose apparently on prosthetics. All right, so a lot of fighting. He's like, oh, it's extermination. And I'm like, I agree. Another big vocab word there. And that is that's the doctor in the House Atreides' inner circle. All right. So that's a cool shot. That's the kind of stuff this trailer and this movie needs, where you're like, I don't know what's going on, but it looks cool. That doesn't always work, because, there was a lot of that in Blade Runner, but if they could at least have some cool action sequences. I don't know, I'm not sure how that guy's lowering down there. I don't know if they're lowering down off a Sandworm or not. I'm not sure. If they ride a Sandworm into that fight, they get cool points right off the bat. So they're like, let's do this. They do have uniforms very similar to Krypton for the Snyderverse. I think, like, right there, that's clearly very similar. But if they have those cool action sequences, we'll allow it. So Jason Momoa, boy, he shaves his beard. He has a little bit of a beard there still. Takes a lot of years off him. He looks fantastic. This is the year of people shaving their beards and freaking us out, him and Keanu Reeves. And again, he has no acting. He's like Aquaman. Aquaman runs into Dune. He's like, I hate all this sand. But he was in sand and in Aquaman, so it's fine. And you can see they have shields, but he's slicing right through them. So more fighting. And I think the shields are utilized quite well in the dark. All these blues and then red, 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 red as people drop. That's pretty neat. I like that. And then you can see there, the shield's like, your neck's been sliced. And the guy's like, thanks for that. Do you have maybe a healing mechanism instead of just this annoying alert? Charlotte Rampling's like, I like this line. She's distracting me with her ridiculous thing over her face. But I do like the line, an animal will chew off its own leg to get out of a trap. And I like the look on his face. He's like, is that my only choice? I can see the future. Maybe I should avoid the trap. She's like, what will you do? He's like, I'm going to go hook up with Zendaya. And she's like, good plan. So he's like, that's a great shot of Zendaya. She looks amazing. This is a very, very desaturated color palette, but I think it really plays into Zendaya's coloring quite well. She just like leaps off the screen. She just could not look better in that shot. She looks so good. I'm very happy for Zendaya. I'm a big Zendaya fan. So, big fight. But why did they wear their uniforms to their armor? He's like, I just decided to wear my sweater to this fight. That guy's wearing a t-shirt. What the hell, guys? Don't we have armor? So that is the villain, Baron Harkonnen, played by Stellan Skarsgård. Some weird, LGBT subtext, which actually the movie came under fire for, the 1984 film, because it looked like it was vilifying the LGBT community and casting them in an incredibly negative light. So I would be surprised if Denis Villeneuve would make that same horrible mistake. So there's Rebecca Ferguson being like, I'll do it my goddamn self. Now this is nice. This is sad. They're obviously in different places. So I hope this doesn't mean that by the way, I have to tell you, Jason Momoa's character's name is Duncan Idaho. How cool is that name? That's so funny. So I do like they're giving each other a salute. I hope I hope Jason Momoa is not dead. It's not Timothée Chalamet because he's the star of this movie. Maybe it's supposed to be a franchise. Maybe Timothée Chalamet seeing the future or something. I'm not sure, but I thought that was nice. I felt the love between the two of them. Now this is also great. That's a sandworm, actually. That's its little mouth. Well, little. No, it's not little. And it's I'm not going to tell you what that is. But this is from the 1984 movie. Although I got to tell you, this has been turned up to an 11. This is much cooler. That is also one of my favorite shots. And again, really nice playing with silhouettes here. The Silhouette the movie. And I'm not complaining right now. Well, maybe I'm complaining a little bit, but I think the silhouettes are cool. I just got to deliver the other stuff. So they've just made it out. They're like, oh, we were going to be that sandworm's dinner. That one shot of Sharon Duncan Brewster is Dr. Liette Kynes. This is actually a role that has been gender bent. And I am in favor of this. I think this, you want to have a diverse cast, and they already have plenty of male characters. I think that this is a good role to gender bend. And race bend, actually. So let's see here. There's some more of those hairless wonders. They're like, let's get some sun, guys. So Oscar Isaac's having that's all I'm going to say. He's having a bad day. Oh, look at that handprint. That's a weird little hand on him. What's going on there? Okay. All right. This Timothée Chalamet is like, I'll fight you. I've been trained. You can kind of see the blue eyes there. I think I'd bring up the blue on these eyes. I should not be able to be like, are her eyes blue? Maybe you do need drug tests on this planet. So there's some stuff here I don't want to give away. That's a nice thing. Is it spice? Is it sand? I think that's spice in the sand. I think that's what that glitter is, maybe. The spice gives you weird powers too, which I have a hard time understanding. Okay. So that's Duncan, Idaho, I believe. Yeah. Not looking good for Duncan, Idaho. But I like this. I like that Timothee Chalamet puts his hand on him like a young prince. It's very cool. I mean, if Aquaman bows to you, you gotta have some stuff go. You gotta be cool. These people are also putting their hands on his shoulders. Everyone's touching each other's shoulders. So here's the sandworm. I can't believe they do outrun it. That's because the sandworm stops. So he's like, let me look back. And then you actually do see the sandworm's face. It's just very anticlimactic. It's just like a giant sponge, you know? Lots of little hairs. And he's like, it's too small for me. I don't know what that thing's thinking of doing. And then they turn it into the Dune logo. There's a planet there at the end. That might be Arrakis, the planet. And then they're like, look at this cast. You can't resist it. I think it's funny they put Frank Herbert in the titles. That's for the hardcore fans. They're like, Frank Herbert! Is he the new George R.R. Martin? I'm like, I don't know. George R.R. Martin, I think, understands spectacle a little bit better. Now, I know also a number of you have been like, Grace, Dune was the one that paved the way for all the other sci-fi movies. Well, we're going to have another John Carter situation if you're not careful, where John Carter paved the way for a lot of stories too, but it got there it got to the big screen after them, and everyone just said, oh, it looks derivative, even though it's the one that everyone derived from. You know, life's hard, man. You know, Dune took too long. And also, Dune might have had a good idea. Dune might have gotten things started. It might have lit the match, but, you know, it didn't understand mass appeal, which is important. All right, so what do you think? Share your thoughts down below. Thank you for going over this in detail. I'm excited for our own Dune journey. No matter what happens, I'm sure I can see the future. We're going to have a good time. So thanks for going over this with me. Subscribe today. And of course, as always, you can check out some more videos right now.